Live, up close, and unplugged. 95 Will Rock's national award-winning Studio East, where rock bands get intimate and strip it down acoustically. You can stream live video of Will Rock Studio East performances at 95willrock.com. Powered by the U.S. Army. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong. Learn more about the U.S. Army at goarmy.com. Now, let's go live to the 95 Will Rock Studio East.
What's going on? I am Stino, and currently we have Underoath with us. What's going on, guys?
Hello. Hi, hello.
Hi, welcome to Studio East.
Thank you. This place is really cool.
I
like
know,
it.
Isn't it rad?
Decorations,
I like what you've done with the
a
place.
piano, a light, and a drum, and a book that says, "Do you want to play with my balls?"
Yeah, we've
Those
got
are-
everything you need here.
That's everything you'd need.
So let's talk a little bit here.
Please, let's speak.
Yeah, we
Conversely.
will. Okay, so you guys kind of were on a dry spell for like 8 years, it seems like.
Did a little breaking up.
Yeah.
A little quit in the industry.
Yeah, well, we like to call it a little happy ending. No, I think we started this band when we were kids, and it's hard to grow up on the road. Long story short, you kind of become a man and become individuals, and that's a hard growing process to see everyone change. And a lot of times change isn't okay, or at least in the moment it's not okay. So I think we kept it going as long as we could until we just couldn't go anymore. And we walked away from it for a couple years, didn't talk, and like all families, it comes back together.
Of course, ruin is the path to transformation and changes, obviously.
Yeah.
True. You got to cut all the evil out to make it work. Yeah.
What was one of the biggest challenges on deciding how Underoath should sound now in 2018?
We didn't do that. I had a few members in the band, and even me at one point, we were like, that doesn't sound like it's us enough. Like when we were writing, that term would come up a lot because we have been fortunate in the last 14 years to have a lot of success, So we kept using that term, and then eventually we decided one day, like, we're just not going to do that anymore. We're going to make what we want to make. We're going to make something we want to listen to.
I think that term is what killed us over time. Like you say, that's not you enough. Every record you make, your box gets smaller, and your music becomes less and less broad and able to expand because you keep cutting yourself off. Like, oh, I don't like that part of me, so I'll just chop that off. And that box got smaller and smaller for Underoath with every record after Define the Great Line. I feel like we just got smaller inside our own heads. I don't mean that as an audience. I mean that as creatively. And that just kind of snuffs the whole fire out. So this time we just kind of were like, you know what? When we started working on this record, Aaron and I were writing a lot, just me and him together, and we were like, this may be the last Underoath record. Like, we're lucky that we even got a chance to get these guys to play with us again, because it was initially the other guys that did do it. And we were just like, let's just put it all out there and make a record that we really want to hear. Let's make it something that we love. Because, like, when you start, we kind of started out as a metal band, and you kind of, like, grow up, and you're like, I don't really listen to that. And we don't want to just play the same crap over and over and over again. Like, we just wanted to make something that we wanted to hear. If it was the last record we ever make, we would be happy with it. And luckily, it's not going to be the last record we make. So,
well, good.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard though too. You want to make your fans something that they'll love, and I think that you have to at some point. The fans are who make it possible for us to do this. But at some point, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and go, I got to live with this. Like this has to be something that I believe in, and for us to make a record that sounded exactly like a record we made 12 years ago is a lie, to ourselves. So I think that for us, we really had to kind of dig in and say, we just have to like this. We have to like it. And if we like it, hopefully our fans will like it,
Yeah. So. I mean, someone will, normally when you're honest with yourself and who you are, that's normally what attracts people. Like when Underoath became popular, we had no expectation. We made something that we were stoked on. And that's how it started, So I feel like this time we had a chance to make our first record again, almost. Like we were like, dude, it's been so long and we're so different. Like we've all grown so much. Our fans have grown so much. Everyone's changed over 8 years. That's a long time. So why go back and try to be who you were? If you've become a better person, which I believe as men and women, as we grow up, we become better versions of ourselves. Why would we not apply that to our songwriting and go revert back to who we used to be? We've grown so much. Our band's even able to get along for the first time in 12 years and work together. Like, why would we go back to who we were? So we just looked forward, and we had a great time making a record of music that we loved, and a lot of people support it, and some of our old fans hate it, and we're getting a lot of new fans that we never had before. So it's all new for us.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't want to go back to the person that I was 8 years ago. I know I would have already been fired from this job if I was the person I was 8 years ago. And I'm still ever changing as.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah,
we all are. Yeah,
that's a great mix on the album, like on this new album, between heavy songs and those melody-driven songs. Was it planned that way to kind of just put it all like obviously what you just said?
It was like I just said. You know, we really just made the record we wanted to make. Like I think what's really important in music is now, especially, there's so much music out there. Like there's so many bands and there's so many artists that I think if you can go to bed at night, you know, when you're in the process of creating and making an album and go, I really like that. Like, I want to hear that. So we took the pieces of who we are and kind of made a collage, and that's what made Erase Me. You know, we made the record we wanted to make, and I think that we didn't have any, like he said, it was like making a record for the first time. We didn't have any preconceived notion as to like, oh, this has to be on the radio, or this has to, you know, cater to our really artistic fans, or this has to be for the really core audience. We just made a record, and one that we wanted to hear.
Yeah, from track 1 to track 11 to push play and feel like just as stoked on every moment on every song. It's the first time it's ever happened for Underoath for all the members. So it was a lot of work. We worked a lot harder on this record than any other record. We wrote 20-something songs for it. And we got to a point to where all 6 of us could push play at 1, and every second of every song until 11, we were all like, that's it. Because we didn't have a timeline, because we were broken up before, and we weren't on that like every 2 years you got to put out a record. Like we were just like, when it's done, and when we're happy, it's done, and then we'll feel okay, because we know no matter what, we're gonna get ripped apart. Because the internet, no matter what you do, if you put a record out that sounds the same, everyone's pissed that it's the same. If you put a record that sounds different, they're pissed that it's different. So we just needed to be happy with ourselves and within the band, and that's what we did.
Well, I had a chance to listen to the album yesterday, and one of my favorite songs on it was "I Gave Up." Is there a song or a story behind that song?
It's a crazy story, actually. We made the album in Washington, D.C. Over last summer, over the course of the whole summer, and every week or two, a couple guys would fly home on the weekend. We kind of split off. You know, we were allowing each other space to kind of, if they were doing guitars, Spencer and I would leave and go home, and all the drums were done, and I flew home. And I had this piano melody in my head on the flight back, which is the beginning of that song. And I came in, and I had that phrase. Spencer and I had been talking about that phrase, is that phrase of "I gave up." So I kind of had this piano thing and that phrase. And we just started kind of building it from the ground up. And I think it was the day before, or the day afterwards, I had walked into the studio. I had been in the bathroom, which was it was in a different building across the yard. And I walk in the studio, I think it was the day after we started this song. And we were still working on the song. And it was like somebody had just sucked all the life out of the room. And I was like, what's going on? And Spencer said, Chester is not with us anymore, Chester Bennington, who's a hero of all of ours. And it was just such a heavy time, you know. And I think for us, this song took on a new meaning then, where you're really talking about heavy subject matter.
Mentally, a couple of us have been in that position before, and had people around us make, which I call a mistake. When you take your own life, I feel like it's a mistake, no matter who you are. I feel like but the world is never a better place when someone isn't here, and we've talked about that a lot.
No matter how bad it is. Yeah.
A lot of the record addresses with that. Because during that breakup time, we did, he went through a divorce. I was a drug addict for like 12 years, getting off drugs and dealing with that, like, sober, but like happy, but having these really dark days of depression and sadness. And that same thing that kind of took Chester and Chris, I think, I don't, know for sure, but it felt like a very similar feeling of that just darkness that overtakes your whole life. And we, lucky enough, are close enough to where we could open up and talk to each other about it, and most of the record is about those times in your life.
And the song kind of took on, like, it's like the universe was saying, you need to write this song, because Chris Cornell was taken from us, and then Chester, and we were writing a song about that, like right in the middle of it all.
Even happened,
before we even knew about
ourselves.
Chester.
Yeah,
you know, so it was really like confirmation for us. You know, like, oh, you need to write this song. You know, people need to hear some stuff like this. So yeah.
Do you guys want to play a song for us?
Sure.
Well, we have a live audience. How you guys doing?
Oh, hi, hello.
Thanks for coming over here.
Yeah, this one's called Rapture. 1.
Face, that bitter taste. She's been hanging around too long. That crooked tongue, so pale, so young, makes me warm. Forever lost, there's no coming down. Oh, skin and bones, paralyzed to ghost. I know that I should be moving on, but in your embrace, you know I'll never change. Hopeless, I am chained down on my knees. Take me to the darkness, hang me out to dry. Tangled in your legs, in the webs of your eyes. Lead me to the rapture, set my body free. Higher than the flames, set a blaze inside me. Oh, there's no turning back, there's no coming down. I'm forever lost, there's no coming down. There's no coming down. There's no coming down. My name never follow call my name, I know there's no escape. Take me to the darkness, hang me out to dry. Tangled in your legs, in the webs of your eyes. Lead me to the rapture, set my body free. Higher than the flames, set a blaze inside of me. Oh, there's no turning back, there's no coming down. I'm forever lost, there's no coming down. There's no coming down. There's no coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Underoath, hanging out in Studio East, all thanks to the U.S. Army. I am Stino, jamming out here today.
Making it happen.
This is a great way to start out my Friday. So,
little morning Friday jam.
yeah. So tomorrow I'm heading over to the Warp Tour, and I heard that you guys were
Oh,
playing on this final Warp Tour, some of the dates.
We just finished the day before yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did Pittsburgh and Toronto, and what was the last one?
Cleveland.
Yeah, outside of Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of your fondest memories from playing any past Warp Tours?
We did 5 or 6 Warped Tour. We got our start there. That's how we started on that tour in '04, and we were nobodies. You know, just kids, local band kids, that had just started the tour. And our first record came out on that tour in June on that tour, so kind of the top of the tour. And we started out kind of playing to 100 people, and we watched it start to grow as our record began to take off. And towards the end of the tour, well, it was about the middle of the tour, we were playing in Atlanta, and they had us on this stage that wasn't on the schedule. You know, that's kind of how Warped Tour starts. If you're on this tiny stage and no one knows who you are. And so we get on this stage, and thousands of people showed up. And we didn't know, because Warped Tour is like this city. It's like a microcosm, so we didn't know how successful it was becoming. We had no clue. We were watching this slow burn happen. And thousands of people showed up to this show on this makeshift, like, wooden stage. And they broke the barricade and broke the stage, and hundreds of people flooded the stage. The police showed up and handcuffed us all for inciting a riot. This is on Warped Tour.
Are you kidding me?
And the owner of Warped Tour, who's a dear friend of ours and kind of championed our career, he literally showed up and bailed us out. That's how we met him. So that's my favorite memory of Warped Tour.
That started our relationship with Kevin Lyman, who's the owner. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was the first time he met Underoath, because Smart Punk stage, it was the stage we were on back then, was separate. It wasn't even on like the blow up schedule.
It was about this big.
I remember going.
I think we were invited by Smart Punk, not by Warped Tour, so I think that's kind of how he met us, and that's what spawned our whole relationship. It's crazy.
That's pretty cool. So, did you guys work with producer Matt Squire for this new album?
Yeah, we did.
What is his producing style like, and how was that experience working with him?
I loved it. I mean, when we went and made this record, we've made our records with some of the same people most of the time. At least one guy was a part of every record we made, and we knew that would be too comfortable for us. So we went to someone that, you know, we had no relationship with, and he was literally the perfect person for Underoath, which is a lot of strong personalities. He's kind of like the Zen master. He like keeps it really chill and productive, but it's not like breathing down your throat, or he's not picking favorites. He hears everyone out and suggests what's best for the song. He doesn't try to rewrite your lyrics. He doesn't try to rewrite your songs. He's like perfectly hands-on by doing as least amount as possible. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying it in like, there's already so many creative people in our band to where we don't need another person trying to get his way. So he would kind of just mediate and watch and be like, you know, this, I hear what you're saying, but this really doesn't serve the song the way that this idea does. Or maybe we should try something completely new, because this is all garbage, you know?
He's also made every records inside of every genre. So
you guys sound like you're describing this guy right here.
Yeah,
JP.
there you go.
He's like the mediator here.
No, I mean, and technically, he's made metal records, rock records, the first Ariana Grande record. So he literally has like every genre of music under his belt. So it was great to like be able to work with somebody who could look into every facet of Underoath and kind of pull out the gold, you know. So
how many members are in your band?
6.
That's a lot of band members. Who's the biggest troublemaker out of all of them?
It's too many. Depends on what kind of trouble, I guess.
Well, yeah, what kind of trouble
like
are you
being
referring?
on tour, like, you know, you're looking for him at the end of the night, or you don't know where he's going to end up, or
none
what
of
he's
us
doing.
anymore. I mean, like,
a few years ago, you know, it was a bit different. But I think now we're all in our mid-30s, and it's like, oh, I had like 5 drinks tonight, so I'm going to be hungover for 3 days now.
This makes me feel really bad because I'm in my mid-30s, and I'm definitely the troublemaker here at the station. So.
No, I think that we definitely have our fun, you know, but I think for us the show is so important that we try not to do anything to jeopardize that. So
that's a really good answer. I should say that about my job sometimes.
Actually, I've been drunk for 6 weeks. Where are we?
Yeah. Do you guys want to play another song for us? Yeah. What you got?
This song is called I Hate It.
I hate it. 1, 2, 3, begin.
I'm sorry, but I can't sleep alone tonight. If it's good for me and it's good for you, just a user. I'm just a user. I'm just a user 'cause I used you up to my end. If you could see me now, I wear a beggar's crown. If I could turn back time, I wouldn't change a thing. You're the only thing that gets me high, and I hate it, and I hate it. You're the only thing that gets me high, and I hate it, and I hate it.
Underoath, live here in Studio East, all thanks to the U.S. Army. Thanks so much, guys, for coming in today.
Thank
Super
you.
fun. Thank you.
One more thing. So, who are some of your favorite bands and influences, and what has influenced you on maybe
We're music.
All across the board.
The two of us are such music nerds. I think it started for both of us with Zeppelin and the Beatles and
Pink Floyd,
Pink
Zeppelin,
Floyd,
Beatles, Rolling Stones, all the stuff that our parents listened to, which spawned into Nirvana, Alice in Chains.
I think Nirvana is where we probably really Nirvana was that thing. It was like a savior for all of us because like Zeppelin. When you think of Zeppelin, you think of those are gods of rock and roll. The Stones. Those are gods of rock and roll. But when we saw Nirvana for the first time when we were in 5th, 6th grade, it was like, oh, I can do that too. You know what I mean? Like I'm capable of that. And he brought it to the everyman. I really feel that way. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you guys, obviously were a Christian band to start out with. And Spencer, I've heard in recent interviews and whatnot that you've been saying kind of that religion has no place in music anymore because you guys all have different views. So why bring one view to the table?
I mean, we started as kids that way, yeah. I mean, we were 17 when we got into a van, and I think we were never singing about it. So I think it's kind of pointless to put another category when everyone's going to call you screamo or metalcore or rock or hard rock. There's so much that deviates people from hearing what you're actually singing about. Before you even listen, you've already got an opinion on a band by the way they look. What category they're in. And for us, we were all growing up and changing, and that wasn't okay. And especially being in a band's like being married to 5 other people.
Of course.
Now put another set of guidelines on it to where if you go off of this path, you're out of the band. And if you want to talk about it, we're going home. That was Underoath. So when you started dealing with problems, you took it inside. And then you found your escape, which for me was drugs, obviously, and kept that from everybody because I didn't know how to handle not feeling the same way as my friends did, and a lot of the guys in the band were finding their escapes as well. And we weren't talking about it. And to me, I think it's very unfair to tell another person what you have to believe in. As a human being on this planet, we should all be able to make our own choices, whatever makes you happy. If that means being a vegetarian, that doesn't mean you have to look to your girlfriend and go, you have to be a vegetarian or we can't date anymore. That's super unfair. That's like telling someone, you have to be Christian or we can't be friends, or you have to be Muslim or I can't hang out with you, or you have to be gay or you have to be straight. It's all things that people should be able to have their own choices and feel however they want to feel about whatever it is they're doing in their life. We've got one chance at this thing. Why ridicule each other for what makes them the happiest? So for us, it was just a no-brainer to let each other be the humans that we are. As long as we're going in the right direction and we're becoming better people every year, I don't feel like there's a wrong path for that.
That's a great message for this Friday right here. Underoath, again, let's give them a round of applause. Live here in Studio East, thanks to the U.S. Army. This is 95 WIIL Rock, the rock station.